So we're on Genesis 18, if someone wants to read 1 through 15.
There you go.
Okay.
The Lord appeared to Abraham by the oaks of Mamre as he sat at the entrance of his tent in the heat of the day. He looked up and saw 3 men standing near him. When he saw them, he ran from the tent entrance to meet them and bowed down to the ground. He said, "My Lord, if I find favor with you, do not pass by your servant. Let a little water be brought, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. Let me bring a little bread, that you may refresh yourselves, and after that you may pass on, since you have come to your servant." So they said, "Do as you have said." And Abraham hastened into the tent to Sarah and said, "Make ready 3 measures of choice flour, knead it, and make cakes." Abraham ran to the herd and took a calf, tender and good, and gave it to the servant, who hastened to prepare it. Then he took curds and milk and the calf that he prepared and set it before them, and he stood by them under the tree while they ate. They said to him, "Where is your wife Sarah?" And he said, "There in the tent." Then one said, "I will surely return to you in due season, and your wife Sarah shall have a son." And Sarah was listening at the tent entrance behind him.
Yeah.
Now Abraham and Sarah were old, advanced in age. It had ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women.
Okay.
So Sarah laughed to herself, saying, "After I have grown old, and my husband is old, shall I have pleasure?" The Lord said to Abraham, "Why did Sarah laugh and say, 'Shall I indeed bear a child, now that I am old?' Is anything too wonderful for the Lord? At the set time I will return to you in due season, and Sarah shall have a son." But Sarah denied, saying, "I did not laugh," for she was afraid. He said, "Oh, yes, you did."
Apparently they don't have a Hebrew word for menopause.
Right.
Yeah.
This is kind of bizarre, our Saturday group.
Yeah?
I think we just finished 17.
Okay.
I mean, how fun this will be to, because
Yeah.
there is a little difference between our Saturday group and this.
Sure.
Not so well,
Yeah.
but
Different people. That's it.
More coffee for one thing.
yeah.
Well, they have coffee too.
Yeah.
I think I fit in better here. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
That's a different feel after you've just went through worship.
Yeah.
Right after worship, do Bible study.
Yeah.
It gets a different setting. Different things percolating in the brain.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different things that can jump out about this text. There's so many things to look at. I kind of picked one avenue in the sermon, but anything else jump out at you that you found interesting?
For some reason, what pops out at me is like her laughing, Sarah laughing, and they just kind of like brush it off and make a joke out of it.
Yeah.
And then poor Lot's wife, like all she does is turn around and she's turned into a pillar of salt. I don't know why that just struck me, but like sometimes God is really harsh with people in the Old Testament, but he wasn't with her.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I suppose if you turned into a pillar of salt, well, that would make
Then-
the story a lot shorter.
Exactly. Like there was a plan for these two, so he couldn't really do that, but I don't know.
Yeah, and I think we should read that whole section because they're meant to be next to each other for a reason. It's like this is the best case scenario of how you treat a stranger. And then chapter 19 is the worst way you could ever treat a stranger. And then we get to, I really think a lot of these stories are funneled by what people could understand and make sense of. And so if their inconsistency in how God responds was just mirroring their own ability to understand rather than actually what God was judging in the moment.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. It never occurred to me before because we tend to read Bible in little snippets,
Yeah.
that these are paired.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
stories. It's the problem with taking Bible verses out of context. You lose that. And that does seem to be a literary device used throughout the Bible, pairing contrasting stories.
Right.
So in the contrast, there's definitely a message.
One of the things that I found interesting on Tuesday when we were studying this is the laughing bit. but that sort of idea of
Yeah.
there's sort of a realism to her reaction. You know, these are the laws of what we know to be true. And so there's a little bit of reality and a little bit of cynicism in there. It's like, nope, this is the only way the world works. And anything outside of the way we understand the world working is a miracle. Although the more we understand physics and everything, the more we realize some of the things that we thought were miracles actually do fit. But I did have a note here. I was like, what do we laugh at? Like even cynically, like, oh, like, get real. That can't
Let's just
happen.
observe
That
it.
can't happen. Yeah, you just
You
just
gotta
dismiss it and ignore it.
It seems a little knee-jerk to me,
Yeah.
very much. I mean, that's your first
Reflection.
response. Okay, it's not your deep thought,
Yeah.
you know, and I don't know if the Lord is going to condemn us for our first thought. You know, I'd like to think that He would hope that we
Yeah.
go deeper in that, and again, I don't know if He's going to judge us either way, because of where we get there because of where we've been,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What pops into my head about what makes us laugh is, for me personally, like when you pray every Sunday, you know, to change our leaders' hearts or the world's leaders' hearts, and myself too, not just your prayers. My initial gut reaction is like that'll ever happen.
I know.
And then I think, God can do things. Who am I to say,
No, that doesn't work either.
you know, that can't happen? Like, so that's one thing I thought of.
I think that's a perfect example.
Yeah. You're right.
And it's interesting because as much as I'd love for God to change their hearts, praying that is more a reminder to me to say, this is how I'm loving my enemy, is by wishing something good to happen to them rather than something bad to happen to them.
Yeah.
If God can change their hearts, bring them healing, wake them up from this, that's going to be better for all of us. So
So pray to change your own heart.
That's what I'm looking
praying
at.
for your enemies,
Yeah.
you know, and that's like,
That's really more for you.
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
yeah.
That goes right in with Jesus later on about. It just suddenly gave me a different perspective when he's reflecting on the commandments and how if you even think ill of someone, it's as good as murdering them.
Yes.
You know, like that seems so harsh, but now looking at it from the other direction, wait a minute. If you think positive things about him, you're curing that in yourself.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't condemning us, he was trying to teach us.
Yeah. It's not about if you don't do this or if you do this, you're going to hell. Like, that is such a deeply ingrained perspective that really doesn't have a lot of bearing in the actual teachings of Jesus. He's literally trying to show us how to cure ourselves of this mentality that, like a virus, we all kind of have been bitten by, of to hell with you and you and you, and I'm going to judge you and you and you and you. And
Yeah, that would be kind of bad.
So when I was on retreat, the retreat master was talking a lot about three spirits. And the one spirit was your spirit, you know, your deal, and then there was the bad spirit and Jesus' spirit, you know, like this. And so when how we look at stuff like that,
Oh, I see.
we can see what spirit is talking to us. And if we
Yeah.
take time to think about now this knee-jerk thing, what spirit is that? Okay, and then that, and go on, try to put it in the classifications of what spirit we want to travel with.
Along those lines, one thing that stands out to me on the story is the very beginning. It's like how did I mean? You talked about the need to be welcoming of strangers and such, but the way that this interpretation of the passage comes forward, it is as if Abraham already recognized the three men as the Lord. He bows down and he addresses them as Lord. And at first, I thought that was just bowing down to bowing down to someone who may be higher in class, or just bowing down and to be their servant for the time that they are in that area. But at the end, they're talking about big L Lord and saying, she shall have a son, and why does she laugh at me? And it's like, well, does she recognize that you are God and not just some stranger walking by saying, oh, by the way, you two seem to have some chemistry going. You probably have a child by the time we get back. It's like, a little bit late for that. By
late.
20 years.
And it could be either. It could be either that in that moment Abraham recognized something. But it would not have been unusual if you read other indications. People will say my Lord to all sorts of other common people and say your servant as sort of a humble way of talking. In this moment, I'm going to be your servant. It could be either.
This reminds me a little bit of some of the gospel stories, particularly the parables where someone's shown overwhelmingly doing something, like the Good Samaritan is a great example. And here Abraham is clearly going over the top. These people, there's no way he could have really known.
Yeah.
Maybe he believed, but he could have known. You know, he could go in faith.
Maybe as a person, he was looking at those people as the child of God.
Yeah.
You know, just you know, they are part of the Lord. You know, and what the greatest thing that to be would be to be a servant.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
Well, and God had already talked to Abraham too, so
Yeah.
Abram may have just been on the lookout, like,
Good point.
True.
you know.
May have had a special ability to see, to recognize.
Good for us all to be on the lookout.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the Lord and other people.
Absolutely. I had just a weird thing. On my retreat, I was able to take some time and I wrote down all the times that I felt that I've seen the hand of God move. Okay?
Oh.
And that's so I've just been kind of reading those over and over and over again and reliving those. And it's really fun to try to just keep looking for that. And when you said on the lookout for the Lord, you know, like that. And I think we have to pray earnestly in the beginning of the day.
Yeah.
Lord, let me see you. You know, let me be part of this and observe it. And maybe we become a little bit more aware of when the Lord moves. When that just isn't possible. You can't put that many things together just to be a coincidence. You know?
Yeah.
So, what happens directly after this is God and Abraham are walking side by side, and God's like, well, you know, Sodom and Gomorrah is not doing well, so I think I'm just going to get rid of it. And then Abraham talks God down. Hey, maybe there's 100 people. What about 50? What about 40? Talks all the way down to 10. And God's like, okay, for the sake of 10, I will not destroy it. Clearly, there wasn't 10 because a destruction happens. But let's read chapter 19. At least start reading it, and we can sort of see the contrast in the reaction to messengers coming for a visit. So
I can start.
Okay.
Just go until when.
yeah,
All right, tell me when.
Okay.
The two angels came to Sodom in the evening,
Yeah.
and Lot was sitting in the gateway of Sodom. When Lot saw them, he rose to meet them, and bowed down with his face to the ground. He said, "Please, my lords, turn aside to your servant's house and spend the night and wash your feet. Then you can rise early and go on your way." They said, "No, we will spend the night in the square." But he urged them strongly, so they turned aside to him and entered his house. And he made them a feast and baked unleavened bread, and they ate. But before they lay down, the men of the city, the men of Sodom, both young and old, all the people to the last man, surrounded the house. And they called to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us, so that we may know them." Lot went out of the door to the men, shut the door after him, and said, "I beg you, my brothers, do not act so wickedly. Look, I have 2 daughters who have not known a man. Let me bring them out to you, and do to them as you please." That's nice.
Eee.
I don't.
"Only do nothing to
Yeah.
these men, for they have come under the shelter of my roof." But they replied, "Stand back." And they said, "This fellow came here as an alien, and he would play the judge. Now we will deal worse with you than with them." Then they pressed hard against the man Lot, and came near the door to break it down. But the men inside reached out their hands, and brought Lot into the house with them, and shut the door. And they struck with blindness the men who were at the door of the house, both small and great, so that they were unable to find the door. Then the men said to Lot, "Have you anyone else here? Sons-in-law, sons, daughters, or anyone you have in the city? Bring them out of the place, for we are about to destroy this place, because the outcry against its people has become great before the Lord, and the Lord has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and said to his sons-in-law, who were to marry his daughters, "Up, get out of this place, for the Lord is about to destroy the city." But he seemed to his sons-in-law to be jesting. When morning dawned, the angels urged Lot, saying, "Get up, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or else you will be consumed in the punishment of the city."
Yeah.
But he lingered, so the men seized him and his wife and his 2 daughters by the hand, the Lord being merciful to him, and they brought him out and left him outside the city. When they had brought them outside, they said, "Flee for your life. Do not look back or stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the hills, or else you will be consumed." And Lot said to them, "Oh no, my lords, your servant has found favor with you, and you have shown me great kindness in saving my life. But I cannot flee to the hills, for fear the disaster will overtake me and I die. Look, that city is near enough to flee to, and it is a little one. Let me escape there. Is it not a little one, and my life will be saved?" He said to him, "Very well, I grant you this favor too, and will not overthrow the city of which you have spoken. Hurry, escape there, for I can do nothing until you arrive there." Therefore the city was called Zor. The sun had risen on the earth when Lot came to Zor. Then the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah sulfur and fire from the Lord out of heaven, and he overthrew those cities, and all the plain, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. But Lot's wife behind him looked back, and she became a pillar of salt.
That's a good place, yeah. Okay. So a couple things. Really important to state.
Okay.
It's actually bizarre that this story has ever been used to condemn homosexuality because the behavior is so bizarre that it doesn't fit with anything anyone would actually know. Just because it's the men of the city and the angels happen to be men, why is that what's focused on rather than the overt sexual assault and domination that they're talking about?
Yeah.
And we know that sexual assault isn't about sexuality, it's about power and domination.
Yeah.
And so this is a opposite kind of case of, instead of, "Oh, let's take care of you, welcome, what do you need, I'll be your servant," this is, domination and violence. And clearly Lot doesn't think this is about homosexuality because he offers his 2 daughters, so which is always left out. Like, people use this story and then they forget about this awful thing, and I'm just like, we're so trained to not see sexual assault against women as a problem. It's so normalized that this is not pointed out as like a big sin.
I think the fact that we read things in snippets also comes to play, because oftentimes when this gets recounted by people, especially wanting to justify something, they just don't include that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that doesn't fit with their narrative, but
No.
so clearly Lot doesn't have everything together. And even his sons-in-laws think he's joking, and like no one takes the angels very seriously. Like even
Yeah.
Lot's like, "Can I just go
Oh.
over to this city? I mean, why not just listen? Why not just listen?"
Yeah.
But they're just not.
Yeah.
I also thought about how the hospitality of Abraham brought the blessing of a future child with Isaac.
Oh.
The wickedness of Sodom and Gomorrah promised a destruction that was an ending
Oh,
of
I see.
something. So beginning and ending. It's
Mhm.
just like
Yeah.
contrasting.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
If we take them as hospitality lessons, Abraham is overwhelming hospitality in absolutely nothing around him,
Yeah.
in a vacuum practically,
Yeah.
which means giving up things
Yeah.
that you need to survive, really, because. Well, Lot is practicing overwhelming generosity, even to the point of give up his most valuable possessions, his daughters, because that's how women were treated in those days.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to judge him by our standards.
Yeah.
But in the midst of people who were vehemently anti-hospitality. I mean, I think the men of the town's reaction here is a xenophobia reaction.
Yeah.
It's because they're
What was the
foreigners.
word you used?
Xenophobia.
Xenophobia?
Fear of the outsiders.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. Very much
Yeah.
like our
Well,
country's going
But
through.
even
Okay,
more so.
okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
they want to torture and destroy
Yeah.
outsiders. Whereas Lot welcomes in and obviously knows that's going to happen to them. That's why he says, "Don't sleep in the square.
Yeah,
We-
you
we
get
need-
out
we
of
need
the
some
square.
more.
You're going to die."
We know some
I
story.
suspect it would have ended in their deaths.
Yeah.
I wonder if this one is. Oh, that's only 6:30.
I think that the Lot's wife piece, couple things. I remember hearing that there was a phrase that something like to be turned into a pillar of salt was a phrase used when you were like overcome with fear, like paralyzed with fear.
Oh.
So that's one possibility. The second possibility that I also heard was that in that region there was literally
Oh no.
a pillar that looked like salt that kind of people could see. That kind of looks like a woman, you know. Oh, and then so they crafted a story. So
Mm-hmm.
I think sometimes events and things happen and they make sense of it.
Yeah.
And there are archaeologists who are looking in this area, and they really think that these cities, which did exist, were struck by an asteroid. So that would have looked a heck of a lot like fire coming
Yeah.
down from heaven and destroying. And so I'm sure, like many things, you put meaning on things retroactively. So if you look at your own life, you can be like, oh, and that's why this happened, or that meant this.
Oh.
In the moment, you don't necessarily find the meaning, but later they might have been, yeah, Sodom and Gomorrah. It
No.
wasn't a great place. And then the story accumulated to where it was all the men, young and old, just like total wickedness, and that's why it happened. And so it just got this. Yeah,
Or you
yeah,
get hit by a meteor.
yeah, it became
Yeah.
a lesson in morality versus,
Oh, yeah.
you know, as they tried to understand.
Do we know who wrote Genesis or these parts of Genesis? Do we actually have any idea?
So there's a couple different sources. So there's 4 sources that wrote the Pentateuch, and they're called JEPD.
Oh.
And that's based off of the way they talk about God and language that they use. So I'm not going to remember all the details, but every time you have "my Lord, my servant," that's a particular, and they're woven together.
Oh.
So in one moment you're going to have God walking alongside Abraham. Hey, what's going on? I got to see what's happening because he doesn't understand. And then another chapter, God is super far and removed, and just so they were picking up on these trends, and they're like
Yeah.
kind of noticed that it's not the same voice throughout. So they think that around maybe 600 BCE, when the people were in exile and coming back from exile, they were finally writing down their stories.
Yeah.
And they were weaving together from the different trends, the different
Yeah.
perspectives, and putting it in one story.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
It makes sense to do that time because being in exile would be, you would need something to hold on to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I even heard that recently Moses wasn't that big of a character until after the exile. And I can't remember why. But he's huge, and he's like Exodus, all of this. But like
Yeah.
apparently for quite a few hundred years they were like, oh, I don't know.
Put more focus on Abraham.
Maybe,
I would bet.
and other prophets maybe, but
Because Abraham's essentially the father of the whole
mm-hmm.
culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
Just enjoying hearing all the perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting because if you go from one Bible study to another, I mean, every word in here is total gospel. And so you are
Yeah.
anti if you
Question it.
question anything. And so, but it's a good lesson.
It's
Yeah.
true.
People view the Bible differently, and there's a perspective that sort of is like everything in here came from God,
Oh.
and it just makes, for people like me, that just feels really difficult. Like, what's the
Yeah.
level in which it came from God when you have exactly what you said? You have mercy and grace in one story, and then you have something really
Yeah.
tough in another story. It has to be the way people are seeing things. It has to be their own consciousness, their own level of understanding. So we can be a little critical in the way we look at things, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And this is not equal to God.
Right.
No.
That's
But
true.
in certain circles,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't view it, the only ones going to heaven is the ones that see it as they do,
Sure. Yeah.
which is so just bizarre. It's just weird. I mean, who has that much knowledge? Who has that? Who has that on earth? Is there one of us that knows that we're spot on? Weird.
Yeah.
Weird.
I remember when my kids were little, I think that Theodore was in 4th grade and Ash was in 2nd grade. And they're talking, I'm just overhear them, and Theodore goes, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And Ash goes, "I don't know." And Theodore goes, "Well, you're going to have to know by the 4th grade."
Wow.
And Ash goes, "I know."
Cute.
I know. It was
Yeah,
really,
it's
really
adorable.
cute. And
It
I'm
was
like,
cute.
in their minds, that was real. That was very real. And like, you sit down with a kindergartner versus a 4th grader versus a 7th versus so on. There's different things they can understand and grasp. So to me, I feel like if God is this parent listening to our conversations, so many things we say are just adorably wrong, right? It's like,
that's
that is
true.
so cute that,
That
you
is
think
that.
that. Which I know you can't understand anything more than that. You can't understand it deeper than that. the only thing I can do is wait for you to grow up and figure it out on your own. Like, I can explain it 6 ways from Sunday, and you're not going to get it.
Yeah, that's true.
And I look back on my life journey, my spiritual journey, and all the twists and turns I've taken, and the conversations I'm having now, the books I'm reading now, I couldn't have read 15 years ago. They wouldn't have made sense.
No.
I wouldn't have been ready for them.
Nope.
No.
And I really can see the crumbs that God puts in my path. Like, this is the next thing I want you to learn. This is the next thing I want you to learn. And it's in an order for a reason.
Oh.
And so I can't help, if I see people where I don't understand what they're talking about, maybe I can have the grace to go, it's me that doesn't understand. It's not that they're wrong. But that takes a certain level of self-awareness to
Yeah,
go.
that's
Because I know when people judge me for being too
Yep.
heretical and wackadoodle, I'm like,
Yeah.
I get why you think that. I get it. But I can't think the way you think anymore. It just doesn't fit me. It's too small for me.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It's a lot. That's why we keep doing this, and
Yeah.
praying for guidance on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember too that in Jesus' ministry, he was going with the spirit of things. He was seeing things from such a wide perspective.
Oh.
And the Pharisees are like an archetype. If we assume they were all bad or stupid, that's not right. They're like an archetype of literal thinkers who are in power, who are kind of this
Right.
focus. And their reaction to Jesus isn't like for us to go, oh, those terrible people, but for us to go, in what way am I immature like that and not seeing the forest through the trees?
Yeah.
That I cannot see that healing a woman on the Sabbath is fulfilling the Sabbath.
Oh.
But from a literal thinking, you're breaking the Sabbath. Jesus knows the difference. Because Jesus has this expansive, mature view
Sure.
of it, he looks like he's dangerous. That's why they killed him. Because literal thinkers, when they see people who are not tied to the black and white of their laws,
Yeah.
get rid of them. They're dangerous.
When I was talking about the good spirit, bad spirit, that's kind of a funny thing, because you could sit there and think, well, I didn't break a law on Saturday, on Sunday, so that falls in the good spirit category. Yeah, you gotta go a little deeper, you know. Yeah, man. I guess it all goes to the heart and what.
I mean, Jesus was accused of being demonic. I think that's so powerful. If we really, really think about that,
Yes, I
Jesus
did.
was accused by the religious leaders of being demonic. That should make us pause about who we think is wrong and who we think is
I don't know.
breaking the laws of God or interpreting things wrongly.
I agree. Cool.
Cool. Well, next week we meet up with Jacob.
Yeah, there it is.
So
Isaac.
obviously Isaac is born. Isaac marries Rebecca, and they have Jacob and Esau, and that's where we jump to
Yeah.
next week.